Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We're midway through 10.0 week. I'm Jonathan Crow, Director of Community at Ninja One, and I've got with me truly my favorite PM at
I
Ninja.
don't believe you. I've seen your lies.
This is Luke Whitelock, and Luke is a master ninja builder. Luke has been with Ninja for how long now? For at
Uh,
least
three
are you going on
years
3 years?
in 9 days.
Happy belated anniversary. And Luke came aboard from his former MSP life to really take charge of ticketing, documentation, PSA. I feel like the list grows with each passing day.
Yeah. Asset management as well.
Asset management as well, which is a big topic we're going to be discussing today, right? So thanks everybody for hopping on, taking time out of your day. As mentioned from the previous days, in case you missed them, yesterday we covered identity SSO updates. On Monday, we kicked off this week with Chris Williams, the PM in charge of patching, going over what's new with 10.0. And so everyone's got access to 10.0 at this point, with the exception of FedRAMP users. I got to put that caveat out there. But everyone else, you've got access to it. We've got, if you're active in the Discord, you've seen lots of discussion around this. We also have other webinars and blog posts and the update notes and everything, the release notes. But this is your chance to get a little bit more of a deeper dive into very specific parts, because there's a lot of Ninja that gets updated and gets added with each major new release. And so today, Luke's going to be covering updates to asset management and some cool new stuff added to the PSA. Luke, anything else you're going to cover, or does that sum it up pretty well?
Yeah, it sums it up pretty well. I think, yeah, the 11.0 one is going to be an even bigger one from my stuff, but you can wait and see what comes then.
Don't sell 10.0 short. We were just joking off screen. Luke, his brain is already in 12 and 13. I mean, he's by this point, but lots of good stuff we want to get into what's new with 10.0 so you all can start utilizing those things, making use of all the improvements there. As always, any questions that you have, I see some why so techie serious. I just locked myself out last night while setting up a zero SSO. Yes. There's many things we can cover here with asset management and PSA. I'm gonna get out of the way here, let Luke take it away, but don't be shy. Jump in with your questions as Luke's going through things. We'll tee him up. And with that, Luke, why don't you take it away?
Awesome. So starting off, first thing to note is both PSA and asset management are in early access. If you want to get access and start trying them out, if you just reach out to your account manager, they can get them turned on for you. So let's dive in. I'm going to start talking about some PSA things first. So the first one we've done is around our product billing in PSA for when you want to build devices. We made it a little bit easier for you nowadays. So with the 10.0 release, when you're setting up a managed device, if you come in here, previously when you were setting this up, you could either choose all roles or one specific role, or you could then use a device group. So if you wanted to just match to multiple different roles, you had to set up a device group and save that. What we changed it to now is you can now select multiple roles here. So it means you can just come in, select all your Windows, desktops and laptops, include your Mac desktop and laptops as well, and just build that with one product super easily without having to set up groups. Just takes a little bit quicker makes it a little bit quicker for you to get up and running with PSA. When you use this product on an agreement, it's going to go and automatically take the count which matches and apply that as the quantity per the organization each time you raise an invoice. If you did want to do anything more advanced, like using tags, using custom fields, diving into which bits of software installed, at that point you can then use a search group, save a search group with using device search, and then you can just use that here as well. So there's a little improvement we made. Some bigger ones we made are two brand new product types that we've got. So the first one I want to talk about is we've now got this option for managed end users. So with end users, we're working on elevating these to be a first-class citizen inside Ninja, which is why we focus on adding support for end users. When you come in here, you've now got the ability to automatically bill by end user. So like we did with devices. Each time an invoice is raised, we're going to find any of the users that match, and then we'll assign those to the invoice. So in here, we've based it off of end user roles. So in here, you can just say any end users assigned to the organization, or you can come in and say any users with specific roles. So if you come back out of here, in here, I've set up 2 of these already. So if we have a look, we've got a fully managed user here, set to fully managed, and we've got one for email only, which is then just set to the email only role. So if we have a look at end users, I've got a few of them set up here. When we're doing billing end users, they're going to need to be assigned to a specific organization if you want them to appear on the bill. This is the only way we could really figure out how to track them accurately, just to make sure that you're not going to pick up users from other organizations. So you just need to make sure you've assigned your end users to the specific organization you want them to be billed under. In this example, I've got one which is set to a fully managed user and one is set to email only. So they're in Luke's test organization. So if we go to that organization here, come in and have a look at the agreements. I've got the test agreement set up. So if we edit that, under products on the left, we've now got options for end users here. So you can come in and again, use the same logic we've got elsewhere in PSA, where it will work down the top of the list and either match on all of them, or it will work down and just stop and match on the first one of them. So it depends how you want to do that billing. So in here, we'll leave this to matched all, so it's going to hit on all of these. So all users will just be no matching at all, just pick up every single user for that organization. Fully managed is going to find the ones which are fully managed, and then email only is going to again find just the email only one. So what we should see here, if we come out here, just discard this, and we come and do a preview of the invoice. In here, you can see we've got 2, which was the total users under that org, and we've got 1 and 1 for each of those. So where this then becomes more useful is around end users. We've got a few different ways you can create these. The first one is by setting up Skim. You can use an identity provider, which is going to automatically create any of your end users inside NinjaOne. As part of that process, you can also assign them roles automatically. So here, if you're syncing from like Microsoft 365, for example, you could sync in your users, do a mapping based on licenses. You could use some dynamic groups at the Microsoft side based on license assigned, or based on permission groups, depending how you track like different types of users. Map those roles and then use that to pick up how you want to build the actual users inside Ninja. The other option we have at the moment is we've added full API support for creating end users and assigning roles to them. So that way you could, again, just build an integration from any other source you wanted, get those end users created, and assign the relevant roles that you then want to use for your billing purposes. One other thing you might notice here is we've also revamped the invoice preview, as well as the agreement editor that we saw a minute ago. This is now just presenting the information in like a lot cleaner, easier to read form than what we had before, just to make that a lot more easy for you. And then the last thing I want to show you about PSA is we've introduced yet another new product type, which is going to let you hook into Ninja Backup. So today, for being able to build active devices, you've got like a backup enabled. You can come in here, you can build your, you can do a filter by backup enabled status. And in here, you could build your search group, find your devices and bill on your per device cost for backup. But that doesn't cover you for how much backup storage are they actually using. So what we've introduced is a new product type for backup storage. So if we come in here and choose to add a new managed backup device storage or device backup storage, in these settings, you again have the limitation around roles. You can again limit to specific groups if you just want to filter by any other criteria. And then in here, we have some settings around for how much included storage do you want. So if per device, you're saying, hey, I want to include 500 gigs per device, and then only bill for overages, you can set that to a per device total here. Or if you want to say, hey, I'm just going to give this entire customer a terabyte of included storage, you can set the total to here, and then that will be included. How this then works is based on your cost here, you'd enter a price per gigabyte. So say you want to charge them 10p per gigabyte. It'll be anything over that included amount, we'll let you bill it. So how you can build backup now is if you do you essentially do one managed device line for saying my backup enabled devices, I'm going to charge them this much. And then you do a second line for your backup storage you want to bill for any overages that go over whatever you're including, or just everything if you don't include any storage. So if we come back to have a look at my test tenant, in here, I've only got a tiny bit of backup done. I've got 800 megabytes. So if we come into this agreement and we choose to edit this one, and we have a look under device backups. So I've got this backup storage here. Let's have a check if I've got any included. So yes, I've got 1 gigabyte included at the moment, which is when we previewed this earlier. You see we didn't have anything listed there because I was under that 1 gigabyte limit. If we drop this down to 0, save this, and we come back and preview this, you now see I've got a quantity of 1, which is my total gigs of storage, and then that's calculated the price that we got there. So yeah, just a nice, easy way to start automating billing your backup usage from Ninja through Ninja PSA. Jonathan, do we have any questions around PSA, or should I move on to ITAM? I'm going to guess we don't have any questions at the moment. Cool. If there are, please ask me in chat and Jonathan can pester me with them at the end. So yeah, so next up, we've got asset management. So we've added a few new things in asset management. Starting off, we've added the ability to start tracking some core fields across everything. So this would be both your managed and unmanaged devices. We've now got this ability to start tracking all the core asset information you know across everything. So in here, we've got an asset ID, we've got the current asset status, if it's in use, is it in inventory, what are you actually doing with it? You can set the purchase date, you can set a purchase amount, you can change the expected lifetime, which will then recalculate your end of life date. And you can track the overall serial number of what you expect the actual serial number is. Like sometimes you have like OEM please set serial numbers, but here you can set the actual serial number of what it should be if you have things like that. So around this, we've also got a few settings which help you out with setting this up. So if we go into asset management, in here you notice we've got an asset fields tab. So come and edit here. First option you've got is you can pick the currency you want to use for tracking your purchase prices. In the future, we'll put this at the organization level. For now, we've just got it as a global setting. And then for asset IDs, you can come in and you can choose if you want to start automatically generating them. So if you have a look here, you can see the starting number that you want to set for an ID. You can set a prefix and a suffix. And then you can choose if you want to apply it to all assets or only new assets. And you can then change it to be generate automatically or not. We also have a setting here, depending on how you want to work. You can say, I want my asset IDs to be unique globally across every single organization in your tenant, or you can say only make them unique within a single organization. Just giving you flexibility. If you've inherited asset IDs from somewhere else, you might have conflicting ones. You can cover both use cases with that. So yeah, so that's the first part of core asset fields. What we've also introduced with these are a bunch of filters to like actually make you let these be useful for you and use them. So in here you can do an asset ID where you could type in multiple different IDs and you can space separate them, comma separate them, or anything, which will then let you filter down to them. We can come in and we can filter by like expected lifespans, saying like when do we expect it to become end of life. We can do filtering around the serial numbers, around the purchase amount, and the current status. Also, the thing we can do here, we can come in here, we can select multiple devices, and we can choose to edit the current asset status. So you can just easily bulk update and change this for any number of devices that you found through a device search. Just an easy option there to come in, mark everything as in use when you first have this feature enabled. Just get your statuses updated as quick as possible. So yes, that's our core assets fields. For setting the ID, we have a few different options for doing that. So first one is the automatic generation, like I mentioned. The second one we do is for by sending it in the UI. You can just go manually edit the setting. We also have the ability to set them using Ninja CLI. So you could use a script to populate them. And we have the option of setting them via the API. Just trying to make it as easy as possible to import these. In the future, we're planning to have like an import option where you could append them via CSV. We don't quite have that yet, but that'll be coming at some point in the future. And then moving on to the other big feature we've added for asset management in 10.0. You'll notice we now got this asset management tab on the left. This is where we're going to put in future asset management features, have like overview dashboards and other useful information. But starting out, we've just added software licenses to this. So software licenses, it's all about tracking the licenses you purchased, understanding like what your commitments are, what you've actually bought, getting highlighted whenever you have an overage. So if you've bought too many licenses, you've exceeded like how many you've got, you put yourself in like compliance risk if you have an audit. Or again, on the converse of that, saying, hey, I'm not using enough of my licenses. I only have one being used. We put 11. I can maybe look at renegotiating our contract and dropping those licenses down. The other part of this is then starting to track your terms, understanding when are your renewal dates, when do you need to go and talk to someone and say, hey, we want to renegotiate our contract, we want to cancel, just tracking all this information so you've got that full visibility of everything that's going on with the license in its life cycle. So if we go and make a license, we've got a few different options for how you can configure them. So today, we've got one automatic option, which is going to be based on devices. I'll show you how that works in a minute. We then have the option for manually assigning devices to licenses and manually assigning end users to licenses. Coming in 11.0, we've got the ability to automatically assign end users using end user roles, similar to how we do it in PSA. And the last option we got is custom, whereby you can just keep track of a number of, I'm using this many and I purchased this many, and apply that to anything. So let's do a per device automatic. I'm just going to call this paint. In here, you can create your list of publishers. So I'm going to just use Microsoft here. You can add extra ones. You can select your vendor. Let's say I buy that from Tech Data. In the future, we're going to expand these into full like vendor and contract management features. But for now, we just kept it simple where you can just set them here. And the license scope is where you can now start to say is this license used across my entire tenant, or is it used just inside a single organization or even a single location? So entirely depending on how you're doing your provisioning. If you're an internal IT department, you might just do a global setting, or you might just say we actually purchase per location and do a location setting. For MSPs, you'd want to use per organization and then filter down to your customers of what licenses they've got. So in here, I'm just going to choose a global one. Let's say we purchase 5. So each time you make a change in the license, you can track a note. You can say the quantity that the change was applied from. You could put in like a PO number or something. Apply that. And set our purchase date of when did we actually purchase this? When does our contract start? So the next option we've got is expiration. So here we can start tracking, like, is this an evergreen license? Does it actually have an expiry date? So I can come in here. I can then set my expiry date saying, hey, this is going to expire on the 31st of January. I can say automatically renew. So each time we hit the 31st of January, I can go and extend it for another year until it expires. Or I can come in here and also say generate an alert before expiration. So this is the point where I can say, hey, I've got to give notice 45 days before. So let's trigger a notice like 50 days before. What this will do is create an activity in Ninja. For 10.0, we didn't quite make being able to configure alerts on that activity. But in 11.0, you'll be able to go in, set like notification channels, tell it to create a ticket in Ninja Ticketing, and any of those other options we have around activity notifications, just giving you full control of exactly where do you want that notification to go and take action on it. The last option we have here is around getting the list of devices which have this license installed. So the first option we've got is using a device group. So again, you can come in here, pick device groups, build it up on using the software inventory filter, build it up using custom fields, and really just filter exactly what you'd want for any to find any devices which match this bit of software. The other option we have, which is for customers who are also in our vulnerability, our software vulnerability beta. You can talk to your account manager to us to try and get into that if you don't have it. This is letting you do a normalized software name. So what this lets you do is come in, search for a piece of software, and we're going to automatically create the rules for you to try and find any device which has that software in, using some AI name matching basically in the back end. This is just during early access. For 12.0, if you have asset management enabled or vulnerability, you'll get access to this matching. It's just because both are in different phases of beta at the moment. So that's why we've got that limitation right now. So if you submit this, what you can see is I've now created a paint option and it's gone in and found that device automatically. So if we come in here, I can now see my licensed devices. I'll be able to see assignments to be able to see the full history of when did a device get added to the license, when was it removed from the or when was the license removed from the device. And I can see my purchase history, come in here, when did I add licenses, when did I take them away? I can come in, I can then edit the quantity and say, hey, we've got too many, I'm going to drop my order down by 1, and you have that in here. And yeah, that's the core of software license management. Coming in 11.0, we've added related items to software licenses, so you can start to relate other entities. We've added the automatic user option, which I talked about before. We've got that activity that you can now configure to get notifications. And we've added a full API as well, so you'll be able to update these from any other sources. We've also done an upsert, we're calling it, API endpoint, whereby you can just pass your license information in. If the license doesn't exist, we'll go and create it. If it does exist, we'll update it, and track all of that change information for you over time to try and make it as easy as possible to get your license data in here. Plan for a little bit further in the future. We're going to look to integrate this with PSA. So you'll be able to build, based off your software licenses, build those licenses in PSA as well. So yeah, I think that's everything I had for you today.
That's it? I'm just kidding. Like, we did have a good question from Spencer. How about this? Can we get that org? The org that is assigned to in this view, having that a high level of view would be nice to have.
So we do show
the main
who it's assigned to today under, I think, let me have a check here. Do we actually have it in targets? No, I think that's in the next version. Next version, we've got the ability when you look at an organization, you can see all the licenses for that organization. We can see, you can also see at a device level, any of the licenses assigned to it, and the same for users as well. At that level, you have a new asset tab where you can then see the actual assigned licenses.
Awesome. Another question from FV. Thanks for the question, guys. Is there a way to export any of the item asset management field or software licenses pieces to CSV?
Not yet for software licenses. For assets, they should come if you do a full export with all device details. That should include the core asset fields with that as well. If not, you can get to them via the API.
Yeah, I'm curious with folks, what before this is, obviously this is being kind of rolled out in stages and everything, but what are you using now for this sort of thing? Are you using a different product? Are you doing this in more manual ways? What's the alternative to this now? I mean, imagine for MSPs in particular, having this kind of thing available and the reporting available for the check-ins, the QBRs and everything, being able to point out like, hey, there's a lot of unused licenses. We can save the customer money. In addition to, hey, if for the MSP internally or for the internal IT folks, hey, we can save the org money by ditching these unpaid licenses. Seems like a huge win. And so, yeah, I'm just curious what people are using. Excel is one answer. Excel is always a popular answer. Yeah, Luke, I mean, as you're building this out and you're discovering everything, I guess approaching this from that sort of level, I mean, you're at an MSP in your past. Is this the sort of thing that you would be actively kind of sharing with clients?
It's something that traditionally MSPs are pretty bad at doing, like tracking the renewal dates at a client level. It's become far more important now with things like NCE from Microsoft, where the liability switched over to the MSP side. So knowing your renewal dates, knowing what your liability with Microsoft is, especially if you're in annual commits for things, is becoming more and more important. The vast majority of people I've talked to, they're using Excel for it. They're not really doing it properly. So we're trying to just bring those features into the central platform of Ninja, giving you the ability to really harness the whole cross platform that is Ninja. Let us dive into the device level. Let us see that full detail and just pull that out to try and automate this as much as we can.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Yeah, I mean, great to hear the context behind the direction that things are going in. Any other questions, folks? So I guess just to reiterate, if people want to dive in and start playing with this, they do need to reach out to their account managers and ask for this to be turned on. Any other things that oh yeah, we got Effie from what Spencer's saying. I want to export to Excel so I can share with the other leaders or teams that need the info. So for everybody who doesn't have access to Ninja. So yeah, absolutely makes sense. Yeah, if there's any other questions, I mean, Luke, any other calls to action in terms of obviously folks should reach out to their AMs, check it out. This is this an additional paid feature or is this free?
It will be an additional paid feature once it goes GA. Currently aiming for early next year.
I see. And any info about that? I mean, account managers will have that info.
I talk to account managers; they have the info.
Gotcha.
They don't trust me with that kind of stuff.
Yeah. In terms of peeking around, testing things out, kicking the tires, talking to the account manager, getting it turned on. There's also, I believe this is now the Discord channel where people can discuss these things and have feedback and questions. Is now open to everyone, I believe, right?
Yep. As long as you click the right buttons last week.
Oh, and Robert's prompting you. You gave a few little things about what's coming in 11. You mentioned 11, and I'll give folks context. Ninja's really releasing on a very regular, very pretty rapid pace now these days. And we're here we are in 10.0 week. Luke's in his mind already working on 13. 11, I believe, if the schedule holds, and this is always, asterisks, caveats, and etc. I believe it's scheduled for November. And so just as we're rolling out 10, we're already, going to be starting to roll out 11. And this will be through the same stages as all our releases, where it's Canadian instance first, followed by Australia, and then Europe, and then finally US and North America.
Yep. I've given some links to Robin to be able to share in the chat. I don't think I have access to actually put them just straight in the chat. One's the link to what we've got coming for ITAM and documentation, and the other is what we've got coming for PSA.
Oh, this is great. Yeah, so as Luke mentioned, these links for anyone who is and there it is. There is the question. Don't tell him, Luke. I don't know if you have access to something on your screen. Yeah, and as Spencer points out, so 11, it's November for OC, so that's Oceania, that's Australia. And then holidays, I'm sure, have something to do with this. Not until January, not until the new year.
We're hopeful it will be before Christmas, but we have a very small window if anything goes wrong where it won't be.
Okay, well, we'll see what's under the tree when it comes to okay, here it is. Of course, it would not be a stream without someone asking about dark mode.
Apparently I don't have it turned on in this division. I'm sorry, I can't show you it, but yeah, it does all support dark mode. There is a beta you can ask for if you reach out to your account manager as well to turn it on.
That's right. Don't like spread this word too much, guys. But when you're talking to your account manager about asset management and about the PSA, if you haven't already, ask them about dark mode, and they should be able to give you something that you can try out. And we're gonna have a bigger announcement. We're gonna have fun with this. This is a long time coming. I frankly don't know what we're gonna do after this is released. I think that Ninja's the dev's job is done, basically. But yes, why tech so serious? Why so techie serious? Talk to your AM. Ask him about dark mode. All right. If there's no other questions, Luke, I think you're free to go.
Awesome. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much for doing this again. And thank you, everybody, for taking time. We'll be back tomorrow with Stephen Murphy talking about a couple of really awesome long-awaited things too, long-term data retention and maintenance mode. So we'll go into that. And then we're wrapping up the week with a little bit of a spotlight into macOS file vault management, more of the MDM macOS side. So thanks again, everybody, and have a great Wednesday. Take care.